Greetings, radiant particles. This is going to be the largest, biggest ever video you have ever witnessed. For we will symbolize and condense an infinite amount of information into a finite time. So we must start with infinity. For there is often a conception that infinity is very, very large. But largeness is only ever relative. So if we conceive of the distance from 0 to 1, from the void to the one totality, as a finite space, and we divide it thus: 1, a half, a third, a quarter, a fifth, and so on, getting smaller and smaller, going towards 0, but never quite making 0. It is an infinite counting sequence. For the fraction of 1 over infinity is not 0, it is not nothing, it is very, very small, infinitely small and infinitesimal, but it is not 0. And so between 0 and 1 there is a countable infinity, a sequence of numbers that is the same length as if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, forever. So infinity can always be squished into a finite space. And from our point of view, your infinite experience is but an infinitesimal thing in the whole of totality. We are going to define a spectrum of 5. We say a spectrum because it's like your rainbow that appears as bands of colour, yet when you look closely it is a continuity. So let us begin. We take the hand to symbolize the sequence. We begin with the 5 natures of 1. Here we have singularity, the oneness, the uniqueness of all. And if there is singularity, there must be duality, there must be something that is not that one. And in a primal sense, the one is singular against the void, the original polarity. And if there is 1 and there is 2, they must be connected, otherwise they cannot recognize or exist relative to each other. There is relativity and there is a connection between them. This is the third thing. And in that connection there is also separation. If we think of a Y shape, and this is a singularity that splits into the duality, at the point of the split, at the point of the Y, the duality is the same. They are connected. There is continuity. And yet that point is also where they divide, where the separation begins. And if you look through all your experience, at all the things that are connected, you will realize that the connection is the thing that separates. And in that separation there becomes difference. For everything is unique, so everything is different. This difference is the fourth thing. It is the cause of variety. And because there is infinity and there is difference, there is infinite variety. All possibilities exist. And these 4 things together are inseparable. It is not possible to have one without the other. They are united, which is the fifth thing, the unity, the one that encases them all. And although you see them as being separate, together they form a unity, a five-pointed star, unified as one. Now we must address dimensions. Dimensions are many things. Without variation, there is no perception. If there was only your consciousness, there would be no experience. There must be an experience for you to have an experience. When you see my eyes looking to you, I am like a reflection of your own consciousness. Your consciousness projected outside to return to you the message so that you can perceive it. For all is circular. Without largeness, there cannot be smallness. Every perception you have is a part of a spectrum, a duality, a line of variation. Happy, sad, up, down, large, small, hot, cold. Every form of perception, everything you have ever experienced is part of a duality, a polarity, a variety. For without comparison, without relationship, without variety, there is no perception. Now we say when everything is unified, which we symbolize thus, the polarity, being unified as one. And we see that polarity separating so that we can perceive it. The last thing that is left in contact is structure. And that structure comes out of the continuity and the separation. And that structure is information. Information is symbolized structure. Now in this structure we have seen the five natures of one that can be unified into a singularity. And those five natures pertain at all levels and all perceptions. And now we talk about your vehicle. For the five natures are in your vehicle, as we have shown already. The singularity is your physical body. The duality is your vitality, your movement, your change, your senses. The structure, the continuity, the separation is your mind that defines things. The variety is the variation of your emotions, your emotional body. And the one unity that makes them all is your spirit nature. In your vehicle symbolized by your history of experience, by your character and your personality that derives from that history. We will overlay on top of this yet another dimension, the dimension of colour. And we will colour the fingers in your mind. Colour the thumb red to symbolize the root, the red root. And we'll symbolize vitality as yellow, as fire, as the sun shining. We will symbolize the continuity and the structure, like the growth of a tree, the element wood, and we will call that green. will symbolize your emotions and the nature of variety as blue, as water, as resonance and harmony. And we will symbolize the spiritual nature as violet. And we take all these colours, and we have previously provided a diagram of structures that relate to these colours, which will be linked to this video. We must also introduce the two natures of symbolizing dimension. Most commonly, you symbolize dimension as a line, going from here to here. And any dimension you measure or experience in your existence is finite in your finite limited existence. There is always a beginning and an end. And this can be drawn on a flat graph, a square graph. But the same information can always be wrapped into a circle, symbolized by angularity. And in that angularity, the whole line returns upon itself. And even infinity returns upon itself in that the largest infinity is zero. For the totality of all is the void. And your line, we also talk of scale. This distance could illustrate the size of an atom, or the size of a planet, or the size of a universe. Think of the maps you have seen in different scales. It is only a matter of symbolism. For you do not know how large you are. You only know your size relative to other sizes around you. It is only a matter of scale, a matter of perception. So when the linear scale is wrapped into a circle, it can be a big circle or a small circle. In fact, it can be an infinitely small circle. It can be so small that all the information you have ever experienced can be collapsed to a 0 point, a point of no dimensions itself, only having angularity. That is why we say the all is nothing, because everything is symbolic, and that symbol can always be reduced to angles within a 0 point. And when you do that, all the vastness of your universe collapses to nothing. It vanishes to one single point. All the time, all the space, all of your experience collapsed down to a single point with infinite angular dimensions in all directions. So, back to the hand, which we will return to shortly. We will say ta-ra for now.